Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's installment of ClueCon Weekly. This week with us, we have Maulik Shah, co-founder of Ecosmob, a very interesting company based in India who specializes in consulting and building solutions around voice and open source and many other things. Welcome, Maulik. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, hi Luca, how are you?
Would you like to give us a quick introduction about your company and yourself?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Uh, myself Maulik Shah, I'm the co-founder and director of Ecosmob Technologies Private Limited. I started my career back in 2006. Actually, I completed my engineering in IT and then started as a .NET developer. And in 2006, I got a chance to work in Asterisk. That was my first hands-on with telecom industry, and gradually we worked on Asterix, FreeSWITCH, OpenSIPs, Camilio, and with background I am an engineer, but then once I founded a company, I had to look after sales, marketing, and then HR and finance. More like a techno commercial person. So nowadays I am more involved with finance, HR, and sales marketing department.
Wow, that's super interesting. Yeah, I have a similar journey through the industry where I've done a little bit of everything, which is, I think, the right way to get started here. So I
Yeah.
know Ecosmob does a lot of work on FreeSWITCH. So that's something I'd like to ask you about. What kind of solutions do you develop on FreeSWITCH? How do you like FreeSWITCH? Do you recommend other people use FreeSWITCH? That kind of thing.
Yes. At Ecosmob, actually, we started back in 2006 with Asterisk, and then gradually we moved to FreeSWITCH. And because it's like FreeSWITCH is more scalable and robust switch. And also, we are working on OpenSIPs and Camilio. So, regarding FreeSWITCH, develop different solutions for our clients for carrier grade solutions, then class 4 switch, class 5 switches, PBX solutions, contact center. But again, it depends on the requirement, right? For some of the projects like SBC, then we may have to go for OpenShips Commando with FreeSWITCH, or maybe only OpenShips. But if it's a small IVR application, then we may go for Asterisk. But yes, now, majority of our work is in FreeSWITCH, and we recommend that to our clients because it's more scalable. It can handle plenty more calls. So ultimately, if you'll see, your infrastructure cost can be reduced in the long run. As your business grow, you may not need a lots more server to handle the load with FreeSWITCH. That's the best thing about FreeSWITCH. So that is one of the reason actually we also moved a majority of our client. If I say like these days 98-99% of our business or our clients in telecom industry are working on FreeSwitch. Yeah.
And well, yeah, that's super interesting, and I think there's a lot of people developing solutions around FreeSWITCH. So I think it's been quite a good journey so far. We've been putting a lot of work into it. But I also know you've been doing a lot of work with WebRTC, which is, with something that's very dear to SignalWire's heart. We've done a lot. And I'd like to hear everything about what you've been doing because I feel like it's an interesting project for myself too. I need to take a look at.
Yes. Actually, with WebRTC, we started back. I think before 3 years, we started working on WebRTC. So we started with some of our clients on here and there, small requirements were there. But one of the pain point which we found in the industry, that was a soft phone. Like there were many web phones were available, soft phones were available, but there were different issues. Like push notifications aren't going, or maybe even like voice quality isn't good, or even draining the battery of phones. So at that time we thought, okay, now let's say we have a expertise in WebRTC, we have a expertise in SIP. Let's create a new software for the industry which can solve these issues. So that was our one of our very big project, that is completely WebRTC based software, SIP software. Uh, that is called a Tragophone. It has plenty of different features, and yeah, like all soft phone has. But definitely our focus was to solve those some of those issues, like of push notifications. It should work flawlessly on Android, iOS, both platforms. It should not drain battery too much. So these are the issues which we solved with that. And yeah, so WebRTC, that's how our journey with WebRTC started, with lots of R&D, and it has grown like anything now.
Interesting. And is it an open source project, or is it the product that you have in your
No,
catalog?
this is the product. This is the product we have developed.
Hmm. And what kind of users, so what kind of customers use that? What kind of companies have been using that product? Just so we can frame what I usually try to find what could be useful for people on the call. So
Anyone who talks on phone with VoIP. So I'll say like contact centers or maybe PPX providers. Uh, those can be our customers, even telecom companies. For example, one of the telecom company uh, who are providing like PBX solutions in Italy. They are using our product. So these are some of the use cases. But yeah, it can be used wherever it's a white calls are there.
yeah, I mean, it's a soft phone you can do. And so you've been in, you mentioned you started quite a while back. So you've been in the telecommunications industry for a while. Every time I have guests on ClueCon Weekly that have this extensive experience, I like asking them a few questions about where do you see the telecommunications industry going? What are the questions that your customers are asking you right now, and you're trying to answer? What's the direction?
Yeah, telecommunication industry, as per yeah, if you ask me, I would say it is growing very very fast, and we are expecting growth like in next 5 to 10 years, like tremendous growth in telecommunication industry. And there are certain reasons, like now 5G is available, even edge computing, even AI/ML. So now there are so many technologies which are supporting this telecommunication industry. So if I'll say, like voice quality before, when we started back in 2007, and if you'll compare voice quality in 2021, it's far better, right? But with this yeah, with this edge computing or maybe cloud computing, even like 5G, even AI/ML, like with AI/ML you can figure it out if network is going to be down, or is there, well, will there be any packet loss. So with all these technologies, this quality will improve even further. Latency will be like almost negligible. So we can see a vast improvement in upcoming years. Not only about this voice, even messages, even video, which can be a completely game changer in coming years with 5G. Uh, 5G will be there. So, for example, if maybe right now there are 5, 10 people, or maybe 100 people can do conferencing, but then you can maybe down the line 5 years or 10 years, I can see like even 1,000 or 2,000 people are there and doing streaming. So we can expect lots more in upcoming years with these different technologies. And the beauty is all these technologies will support telecommunication, because communication is now a center it
Mhm.
for any business. Without communication, it's like none of the business can run these days. So that's the benefit for major telecommunication providers.
Yeah, I
They
think
can
you're
have
super.
like huge data.
I think you're very right. One customer I used to serve a few years ago before I joined SignalWire, their CTO used to say that every company was a technology company back in 2012, 13. So almost 7 to 8 years ago. And I think that has changed. So nowadays every company is a technology company, but it's also every company is a communication company. Unless you
Yes.
run a factory where everybody is in the same place and you just sell, and even if you run a factory, like say you manufacture chairs, you have people in your building just making chairs, then you have to take orders, deliver the chairs, find out if your customers are happy. So even there, even just if you're manufacturing stuff, it is, every company is a communications company. You're absolutely right. And people underestimate how much you can do with not too much technology. Like once you have a decent IVR, you have a good soft phone installed on every computer, and there, you don't need much. But you're absolutely right. I think every company is a communications company. It's a great takeaway. Thank you for that.
Yes.
And okay, so well, you said you're well. You said, I mean, Ecosmob has been at the forefront of telecom for quite a while. So I'm curious, what growth have you experienced in the last few years, and how do you feel like the growth is going to happen in the next years? Like, how many people are at the company and all the stuff? It's always interesting.
Yes. When we started back in 2007, we started with like 4 people, and that was a small start. But it was like tough time to reach to 100 people, 100 engineers, I would say,
Wow.
by 2018 or 19. But after that, we have reached to 200 in just like 1 or 2 years. So it is like a very fast growth for us in last 2 years, last 2 to 3 years. And we are expecting at least 10x growth in next 4 to 5 years, at Ecosmob. The reason behind is we started as a telecom software development company only, but gradually we worked on web applications, then mobile applications, and in last 2 to 3 years we started different department for DevOps, QA, and then even marketing departments. That's a separate department altogether, like SEO, SMO, also stuff. And uh, even like earlier we were working on Asterix, FreeSWITCH, now OpenSIPs, Camilio, even WebRTC. So even in telecommunication itself, we are growing very fast with different switches, different solutions, and at the same time, even AI, ML, even like cybersecurity, which we are planning to target in next 1 to 2 years. So growth up to 100 was slow, I would say. Up to 100 and up to 100 to 200 was good, but now we are expecting 10x growth in next 4 to 5 years, because
Wow.
now it's yeah, it's a telecommunication boom is there also, so that helps.
Yeah, but you're also well positioned because you've been in the industry for a while. I think SignalWire is similar. In fact, since I mean the company is relatively young, but we've all been in the industry for many, many years, and so
Yes,
there's
14
a
years.
lot to
Yeah,
do
14
now.
years, long time.
Yeah, FreeSWITCH was released in 2006, I think, the first public release, and I started using FreeSWITCH around 2008, and I've been doing that since. So I think there a lot of people at the company have very extensive experience, and I know we've been collaborating on
Actually,
some
that is
stuff.
interesting. We were started. Yeah, we started in 2008 with FreeSWITCH. We did some R&D, R&D stuff. At that time,
Mhm.
Asterisk was very famous. But then we started FreeSWITCH R&D work. We knew that this is a big thing because it's scalability. It's architecture which handles so many calls, so many users. So that was the beauty. And then I think after 2011, 12, almost everything was on free switch for us.
Yeah, 2011 was FreeSWITch 1.2-ish, and it was, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the first version that was really great, and it's been great ever since. It's interesting how, so do you, so I have to ask this question: do you still use Asterisk for some project internally?
Frankly speaking, hardly.
Mhm.
Maybe one of the client that is also again for IVR application. Just they need a simple IVR application. then we may help them out for these donastics. But majority, like as I told, like 99% the stuff is on FreeSWITCH and
Yeah.
OpenSIPs and command. Yeah, OpenSIPs we are using for SBC for some of the clients.
FreeSWITCH has received, sorry, Asterisk has got, it's still live. There's a lot of releases. This recent one in August, which is very good, but it feels like it's lost a bit of traction in the industry. Probably the 2018 acquisition by Sangoma made things a little bit complicated for them. I don't know. It's just, I mean, I've been with SignalWire since the company was started. So when Sangoma was acquired Asterisk, it was already here. So I had stopped doing consulting. So I wasn't using Asterisk very much even. But I hardly hear people mention Asterisk now. Like in the
Yeah,
context of
that's
I'm
true.
doing something today with Asterisk, it doesn't come up. It's weird. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
even I have been to different conferences over these years. Like last, if I say last 5 years, I hardly heard about asterisks. People are more talking about FreeSWITCH.
yeah, it's strange because honestly, the platform is still there, and I think there's still a lot of asterisk over out there. Only they are free PBX boxes that are running on
Yeah.
1.6 or stuff like that, which is it works. So it's like a fridge. They have it there. It does what it does. If you need something to drink, you take it from the fridge. If you need to make a phone call, it's there. But it's not being used to innovate. You're right. Yeah. Well, I mean, but I hope that picks up again because having competition is always fun. And I started my VoIP career with Asterisk, so it's still interesting to see it go. Well, speaking
Yes.
of the past was what we just discussed, but I think Ecosmob, large as you are, you're surely working on some future projects that are super interesting. Can you tell us something about them, or is it something you cannot really disclose yet?
No, we are in open source market, right? So everything remains open.
Mhm.
So yeah, some of the interesting projects that as I told, like this Dragophone, that is one of the interesting product we are working on. Also, we are creating one of the solution for the manufacturing industry, because somewhere we feel that manufacturing industry is still lacking in communicating in like communication based softwares. So we are working on that stuff, which we may release first version in upcoming years, maybe in a year or so. So that is one of the project. um, Also, we are expanding our DevOps team, like Dockerization is one of the thing. Then Jenkins we are using, and Kubernetes where we would like to develop our team. Um, some of the stuff also cloud, AWS, where we would like to um, develop our team, expand our team. In terms of I'll say about telecommunication, then even we are working on one of the SBC product in-house, which we may release in next 2 to 3 months.
Nice.
So these are the some of the solutions regarding AI/ML. We already worked on face recognition system, which we are using currently in-house for attendance, and it's like on different walls. It has been set up for attendance. So that we may like to commercialize in future. Then some of the AI and ML stuff we are using for sentiment analysis and voice biometrics.
Nice. Yeah. So how
And
this
one
is?
of the, yeah,
Oh, good.
one of the futuristic project we can think about is like network optimization with again using AI ML. So it's like telecommunication is there. It's since long. And now it's the time to improve it or
Oh,
take it to next
definitely.
level.
Yeah, I'm interested into the sentiment analysis, discussion, transcription, etc. Do you think we're going to see a growth of that kind of market in the industry? like what I'm thinking about is something like I've done a demo where I had a bot listen to call center calls and do sentiment analysis on the customer, on the fake customer we're using, and if the customer was happy or sad, they would alert. If they were angry, it will alert the supervisor. So it will tell him, hey, this agent is on the phone with someone who was angry. Go take a look. You think that's something that we're going to start seeing in the industry for real, or is it quite far away yet?
No. I think I believe even it has already been started. It's a like for contact centers. Even one of our client, for example, is using this sentiment analysis for interview processes. So that this process has already begun, uh, and in next 3 to 5 years, we can see sentiment analysis should be used in many applications.
Nice. Yeah, there's also an interesting platform. Well, we've been playing with. I wouldn't say it's even a prototype. Like it's literally just an experiment where we've been doing video sentiment analysis. So it's actually not too hard. There's Python libraries that work very well that allows you to extract sentiment from the faces of people who are in a conference. Still playing around with it, but it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Cool.
it's like it's a supporting tool. If for example, if I'm taking an interview, if I have to make a decision, I'll make decision based on my assumption or based on my analysis. Okay, this is one of the additional tool which gives you inputs. Okay, these are the inputs from this sentiment analysis tool. So these inputs can help you to take even wiser decisions.
Yeah,
But
that's a good
definitely,
point.
maybe right now it may not able to take the final decision, but it may help.
Yeah, how I feel like is that with the remote workforce, so a lot of people are no longer working in offices, and even call centers are no longer happening in offices. People are sitting all over the place. So being able to automatically monitor everything is super important because even especially in call center situations, you used to have to do either sample checks, so just connect a supervisor and hear what's going on in one call. But if you're listening to one call, you're not listening to the other 100 that are going on, or do post call queries to customers, which maybe customers don't want to answer or don't want to be bothered. Like we all have received a call from, hey, you just had a call with Verizon. How did it go? Did you like the agent and whatever? You barely want to have the first call, the one where you spent an hour trying to figure out why your phone is not roaming internationally, and you don't really want to listen to another call that asks you if the call went great. And on top of that, there's again the problem of not being able to really monitor people. Like usually you had 400 agents in a call center in a room, and you supervisor would walk around, and an agent could raise their hand like just behind themselves, like come help me, and you can't do that anymore. And that's really probably I think it's going to be the first way we see machine learning used in the industry to replace manual monitoring that's no longer even possible. Like how do you do that, like if everybody is
Right.
working from home?
Exactly.
Cool. So that's a very interesting topic, and I think we've gone through a lot. And what else? So you've given us an array of Ecosmob services, but maybe it's worth going to. So what kind of programming languages do you work with? Do you have a specific area where you do a specific framework used for backend? I usually like asking about the stack, like what's the preferred stack. Then a company your size is probably working with anything, but what's your favorite stack internally?
Uh, Again, it depends on the solution which we have to develop. So our team first analyze the requirements and then they'll decide. Just I'm giving you one example. If I have to create a simple admin portal, okay, just to add users, then I may go for the PHP or like PHP, like via your Laravel framework. Okay, but yeah, it's more interactive. Then we may go for maybe AngularJS or maybe React. And even in backend, like for some of the applications, we are using still we are using C. Even we are using Python. We have a good development team for Python.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So yeah, so these are the different stacks. React.js, for example, even the soft phone we have used React Native, Tragophone, that is WebRTC based soft phone, right? So in that even we have used React Native. Even we are for some of the mobile applications we are using Flutter, React Native, and some of the native applications. So these are the different stacks. We are using PHP, AngularJS, and Python. These are the major ones, I would say.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. I think there's been a lot of development on the front end too, like the stuff like React, React Native, Flutter. There's a lot going on there. I need to delve into it more. And the other thing I noticed is that you and other people on ClueCon Weekly have been mentioning Python more. Like Python is actually, I wouldn't say old. It's got a few years under its belt, right? And
Yeah.
people have been using Python for a long time for a lot of tasks, but I think the resurgence of machine learning and AI has really propelled Python back to the forefront. Like
Yeah.
I think 5 years ago, there were people using Python and it was great.
Yeah.
But the last 5 years, everybody's looking for Python developers, data science people, and it's come back like PHP, honestly. PHP 8 is one of the best programming languages that are out there in the open source space. And people don't know because PHP 5 was terrible.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Actually, you are absolutely right. Like AI/ML, that is the main reason why Python has come up like a big way. Python was there earlier, but somehow people were not using that much. But after the AI/ML, definitely people now we are using Python a lot. And even in front end, there are lots of options these days: PHP, AngularJS, React.js. So there are so many. There are so many JS frameworks are there. So again, it depends. You have to do a very in-depth analysis and design for the software. It is more important these days because you have you have plenty of choice to
Oh,
select
yeah.
from. If you if you'll do proper analysis, if you'll do proper design, then you can decide, okay, these are the languages I'm going to use, or this tag I'm going to use.
Yeah, I feel like aside from machine learning, where you have to sort of go with Python or the very complicated stuff, because the alternative to Python is compiled languages. It's an entirely different set of skills. When you're talking
Yeah.
web development, both front end and back end, what matters more is finding a tool that your team really likes than what exactly. I mean, Ruby on Rails, using Express or Sales on JavaScript, using Laravel is probably the de facto on PHP. Even Django and Python, they're all, I wouldn't say the same thing, but I mean, there's only so many ways you can write an web app, right? And it's more
Exactly.
about what your team likes and how you get them to really shine that out than what you exactly pick. That's I've never been married to technologies, honestly. I started with PHP, moved to Ruby on Rails, and now I've been doing a lot of JavaScript recently because we have many customers and prospects who are using Node, so I had to learn some of it. I still write Rails more, and I probably like PHP 8 more than both, but I end up doing some JavaScript. So there's a lot out there. But I think success is defined by finding the right people. Language doesn't really matter unless they really want to
Yes.
program in something very weird. Like if your web developer wants to program in COBOL, then maybe you find someone else. Great.
Yeah.
So there was a great chat. Will you by chance be at ClueCon next week?
No, actually, we didn't go for this year because of this COVID situation. Hopefully, we'll be there next year. Actually,
Well,
before 2 years we were there. We were the sponsor, one of the sponsor in ClueCon, and earlier also we were attending the event regularly. But last 2 years, yeah, it was tough COVID. But yes, next year definitely.
yeah, well, I mean, I'm stuck in Italy too because of the not being able to get an extension for from the government. So for now, I'll be here. I'll be watching the conference online, and well, you can join us too. Like it's if
Yes,
anyone
same
wants to
thing.
take a look at the conference, it's going to be next week from October 25th to October 28th. There's tickets available for the online talks, etc. And well, we're waiting for all of you, and I'll see you online for this year. And I hope we can all meet in person next year. And thank you, Maulik, for joining us today. Maulik Shah, co-founder of Ecosmob. And well, it was great having you. It was a great chat. We went through a lot of the industry and things that are going on, and looking forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Luca. Thanks for your time.